Ferryville, Wisconsin. The people, the location, the place for all seasons. Larry Quamme is my guest on the Ferryville podcast. How you doing, Larry?
I'm doing fine. Well, you're calling me by my nickname. My nickname is Larry.
As opposed to what?
Lauritz Jacob Quamme. That's how my grandmother, Clara Quamme, gave me the name of Lauritz, Lauritz, very popular in Norway. Jacob is pronounced Jacob. Quamme in Norway is Quamme.
So, did you ever spend any time in Norway?
Our two sons gave us a trip to Norway on our 40th wedding anniversary, and we spent 2 weeks. We went to the home farm, and the cemeteries are full of headstones that say Lauritz.
So, living in Ferryville now, where there's a large Norwegian population, is there any similarities between Norway and here?
Oh, once I got to Norway, I knew why they came here. If you put your back to the Mississippi River and you look up the coulees, you're in Lærdal, Norway, where my relatives came from.
Really?
They didn't know how to farm except on a side hill.
So
very, very similar terrain in that area.
What brought you to Ferryville?
My wife and I, in 1999, went out for a drive one day. She's from Richland Center. We came down Highway C, and we happened to turn on White Road, and we went up the farm road up to the top, and we were in Eagle Mountain. And we came out on this big, beautiful area and lots of vacant land, and we were very attracted to that because I used to come to Ferryville with my grandpa, and we ended up buying 15 acres in 1999.
Was it a good move, Larry?
Oh, definitely. We love it here.
Let's talk about the Norwegian immigrants that are in the area.
My great-grandfather, whose name was Jacob Larson Quamme, and his brother Hawken came from Norway in 1870. And they came via what today would be the St. Lawrence Seaway. There was a railroad that ran a little ways out of Québec, and then from there, the two brothers walked to Mount Sterling. What's Mount Sterling today? All they had is what they could carry. My great-grandfather was 24 years old, and he had just graduated from a Norwegian seminary, and he was a Norwegian Lutheran minister. And he promptly settled and founded Utica Lutheran Church up on Highway 27. When you think about it, Bob, the Civil War was just ending in 1865, and they were coming to America. Some people said, well, maybe they didn't even know about the Civil War. I found some things that would suggest that there was a way of communicating with the ancestors in Norway with a letter, and it took about a month to go each way. When they left Norway, they went to Liverpool, England, and then brought a wooden ship from Liverpool and then came down the Seaway. We have no records on Ellis Island. We were immigrants that came into the United States across the border.
So when you told people, in Madison that you're moving to Ferryville full-time, how did you explain the area that you're moving to?
The next thing is that I later learned, I have a sister 10 years older than I am. She's 88. She had more recall about things around here, and we learned that our grandpa had actually rented some land above Ferryville that is today Eagle Mountain. So I would tell people I moved back to the homeland.
When you explained to them where the homeland was, what did you tell them? Like I said, it's just going from Madison, where there's the hustle and bustle and people all over the place, to 176 people, and we see an occasional car drive by. And how did you explain it to them that you're going to the promised land, going to the homeland?
Going to the homeland. Most people had no idea when you said Ferryville. They didn't get it. So I started talking about moving to the west coast of Wisconsin. It became where we're halfway between Prairie to Chien and LaCrosse. Most people knew where that was. Most people looked at you quizzically and said, "Are you okay?"
Was it a good move for you?
Great move. We've enjoyed it. We've enjoyed life. My wife got very involved in many volunteer activities. I ended up being the clerk treasurer for the village here for a number of years. We've enjoyed it. We love the move.
So tell me about the history of Ferryville.
Well, it was Humble Bush, at one time.
Why did they change the name from Humble Bush to Ferryville?
I think it had to do with the people that ran a ferry. So I'm not certain why it became Ferryville. I started coming down here in 1947, 48. My grandpa kind of liked to make the rounds and have a beer or two. My grandmother was very Lutheran and deathly against drinking. But we used to leave and stop first at Rising Sun. He'd go in the grocery store, get me a bottle of grape soda, and I'd have to sit outside. And then we would go to Fargo Junction, and we would make our way back down to Ferryville, and bustling town. I used to sit near the swing inn, can't remember what the name was then, and watch them load the cattle and hogs onto the railroad.
Oh, wow.
And there was a big lumber yard right there, and the depot with the big water tower, and then shoveling the coal. And there's a picture that a lot of people have of the Prince and Princess of Norway visiting Ferryville in 1935. My grandparents, Lars and Clara, were on the dock there that morning. Ferryville was a real area of commerce. Up on the north end, the trees were growing, and they had kind of made a tunnel where you kind of went through a shade. And then, of course, where the Grandview Motel, you went over that knoll. And Grandpa used to drive fast, and we thought we were flying through the air on the other side.
When did Ferryville become a drive-through town rather than a destination?
Oh, I think probably maybe in the late 60s, 70s. The stockyards closed. I believe the lumber yard may have burned. And I can't remember early 60s when the train derailed, and that took the depot. And entirely it ruined, the depot area.
Where was that?
Just south of the post office, which was the bank.
Now, wasn't that the first place to have plumbing in Ferryville?
I have heard that, yes. We used to go and see, my grandmother was a friend of Elvira Smith, and that's the White House, and we used to go there. And in those days, you would step up a step to go into the house. And then when they have redone 35, today you could sit in that house and look underneath the trucks going by. That's how much the road has been raised. I don't remember the years. There's been a couple times that 35 was redone. They ran across, down by the village hall because the train used to wrap around there and go down what's Pine Street today.
Ferryville, Wisconsin being the place for all seasons, what's your favorite season?
Well, I like fall. I'm not a hot summer guy. I love it when the leaves start coming off. I've given up hunting from some years ago. I was never much of a fisherman, but I like the scenes. I love the hills and mountains. There are challenges, where we live because we have 600-foot deep wells. The nature of it, the Norwegian heritage, it's kind of my little area of the world. I would say that it's a different kind of life. It's relaxed. If you're interested in no stoplights and relaxed enforcement of stop signs, it's a great place to live in. Great friends, very people that are very interested in being social. Hiking is becoming a really big thing. And of course, if they were from Stoughton, I'd say, come back to one of the epicenters where the Norwegians came to.
Ferryville, Wisconsin, truly the place for all seasons. For more information, visit ferryville.com.